All right, so here we are on the light installation. All right, so the KC Hilites Flex 40 is what I got. Okay, so it's 40 inches. It's a beast. It's heavy. You know, I can't imagine this thing ever having any kind of structural issue. I'll leave it at that. This thing, you know, you could probably you're not gonna bend this thing. This thing is solid. It's like you know, built solid. It's got some serious weight, and it's just the craftsmanship and, you know, the quality is really evident on this thing. It's not, you know, it's not something that you're gonna pull out of the box and be like, well, you know, is this thing gonna hold up the rain, the snow, the sun, the wind, the off-roading? There's no question. This thing is solid. It'll, you know, it's as solid as the rack. It complements it, you know, very well. All right, so when you pull it out of the box, these wires here are not connected. Okay, so there's obviously a spot there for your positive connection. Right here, you just loosen that little nut, put it in there, and tighten it down. Now the negative, I guess it doesn't matter whether it's on the top one or the bottom one. You know, you just take out the little screw, put the negative in there, tighten it down. Well, you don't have to torque down on them. You know, it's you just snug them down, and you do the same for the other side. And the reason that you gotta have two, I guess, is because there's a limit to how many inches of light you can have on one connection. I guess it's 30 inches. So 30 inches is the limit, and because this is 40, you know, they just split it down the middle. So you know, you do your battery connection here, and it's paired with this other one here. So these are two separate pieces here. These are 10 inches. So this is 10 inches of light here, 10 inches of light here. Okay, and these two are connected. The other 20 inches of light are connected to that battery terminal, to that battery wire over there. All right, so it's a dual. You know, they send you. It comes with the wiring harness, and it comes set up for this specific light. So that's why it's got two. You know, it's all integrated. It's all done, you know, very cleanly. So what I did was I ran the wire down here. Before I show you the wiring, though, I'm just going to show you how I mounted it. So what I did was I used one of these crossbars. Okay, this crossbar was mounted here. All right, I had it mounted right here on the same plane as all the other crossbars. Okay, until I realized the problem with the windscreen, and you know, there's no way this bracket fits on this windscreen. You're supposed to slide it right here. You're supposed to connect it here. I guess you got to put a bolt in here. A carriage bolt, quarter-inch carriage bolt, point, you know, facing up, and you're supposed to somehow put this bracket there, and it does not fit. All right, so Prinsu sells. You know, I was kind of frustrated with that, because Prinsu, you know, they sell the rack, and then they give you these light options on the same, you know, on their same site. So I assumed that these lights, you know, because they sold it on their site, they were, you know, they would come with the necessary hardware to mount it where, you know, they tell you to mount it, but it doesn't. Okay, so I had to get I had to mount it onto this crossbar. I had to buy the bolts too, because the bolts that come with the rack, or that are left over from the assembly of the rack, don't do it. They don't fit it. They're not long enough. So I got these stainless steel bolts at the hardware store. I put them in here. I slid them into little channels, okay, and then I locked it down. All right, I used a little bit of Loctite, blue Loctite, locking washer, regular washer, and a bigger washer, okay, because the holes will it's a good size hole. So so I just doubled up on the washers, make sure that, you know, there's no movement, make sure that it's nice and snug, and there's no chance of it, you know, making its way out, obviously. These are nuts too that I bought separately. These are security nuts. You know, so you don't want anybody stealing your $1,600 light. You know what I mean? I also bought these separate. Okay, I got these from the KC Hilites website. All right, they're made for the Flex 40. They fit the screw here, the bolt that goes right here. They fit it nice. I used a little bit of Loctite, and I torqued it down. These right here I got from the Rigid Industries website. So you want to get 1/4 inch. All right, so and the website is kind of confusing because it doesn't tell you the size of the nut, but you want to buy the one that's for their SE or SR lights. You know what I mean? So I guess the bolts, the mounting bolts that go to the bracket on the Rigid Industries SR or SE lights are 1/4 inch. So these bolts are made for that, and they're from the Rigid Industries website. Okay, and they fit perfectly on the 1/4 inch carriage bolt. So I got it locked onto the bracket. I got the bracket locked onto the crossbar, and I guess the crossbar is Torx. All right, I might change these out to maybe a tamper-proof Torx or some other type of security fastener. All right, because right now I think this is probably the only weak point, you know, theft-wise. You know, so I might swap those out. I don't know. Not everybody carries Torx though, so I might be all right. But all right, so I locked it down. I took it off the plane that all the other crossbars are on. Okay, I put it on these first two holes here. All right, and it's a little lower, so it sits lower than the rest of the crossbars. And the reason for that is because you kind of want it to sit in the cutout for your windscreen. Okay, so you want to lower it down a little bit, and that's perfect. It sits just right. I imagine that this is what it looks like when you mount it to the actual windscreen, but we didn't mount it to the windscreen, so I mounted it onto the crossbar. It's nice and secure. I think this makes me feel a lot better. It's stronger, and it sits flat the way it's supposed to. No issues, you know, so far. You know, I had a 2-hour drive today on the highway, and the only thing is just the wind noise, obviously, which is expected. Big increase in wind noise. All right, so I mounted the windscreen up a little higher, obviously, to fill that void, so it's not anywhere near the roof of the car. So I think I really didn't even need this thing, you know, but I cut it, so now I'm going to leave it there. Well, so that's how it's mounted there. It looks good. I think it looks really, really good. You know, it looks like it's supposed to be there. It fits. I did lose one crossbar, but I guess for another $35 I can replace it and put it here, and I got plenty of space to put it here. I'll just move this wire down a little bit. So I ran the wires exactly the same on both sides. Little loop here. I zip tied it to the crossbar right here. You can't see it from the outside, or you know, when you're looking up at it. And wire runs down the side. There's a plug right here, right behind here. It's one of those all-weather Deutsch plugs, maybe, I think. It's called something like that. But I guess they're meant to be out exposed to the elements. And so I took the wire and I pushed it into this channel right here. So it runs down that channel, right inside that channel, really clean. Can't even see it. Looks really good. This side, for some reason, the driver's side was a lot easier than the passenger side. The passenger side was a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. I had a really difficult time putting it in there. My fingers still hurt. A week later, my fingers still hurt from squeezing it in there. I used a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and I had to strip the weather stripping off of it. Okay, expose just the two little wires, and then I electrical taped it nice and tight, right? So it's nice and thin, and it was still really hard to get it in there. All right, so I got the I got the Cali raised OEM switch. There's a bunch of other switches out there, you know, and I got this switch before I started exploring and checking on Amazon. You know, I got the red switch. All the other lights in my car are blue, so it doesn't match. And there's one on Amazon that's 20 bucks. It comes in all the colors. It comes in red, amber, green, red, blue, and that's a lot cooler. They have actually a Toyota Tacoma on there, and you know, on the actual switch, and you know, it was just so cool. Like I kind of was like, oh man, I should have got that, but I didn't. So I got this from Cali Raised, which is the same exact switch, and it cost the same exact amount of money. Actually, I think this might have been $10, and the one on Amazon's 20. So I don't know. But anyways, I installed it. Same exact switch, same quality, same look. Really clean installation. Doesn't match the other switches in size-wise, but it's good. It looks like it's supposed to be there. So I ran the wiring. You know, I'll get back to this in a minute. But let me open this up here. Alright, so this is the other side, the passenger side that I was telling you about. This right here, I ran the wire same exact way as the other side, the driver's side. Used the same zip tie. You know, came down here, ran the wire through here, okay, in that same channel. This one is a lot. You can see the tape that I used, electrical tape. So what it was with this one, it was down here was fine. You know, it went in good. I just pushed it in with a flathead screwdriver, no problems. You know, I went up the channel, and as you get higher in the channel, it gets more and more difficult. It gets, I guess, it gets more narrow. Just the initial entrance to the channel is what's difficult. So I had to strip the weather stripping away. I used the electrical tape. I put it in there. Finally, with the help of a flathead screwdriver and a piece of 550 cord that I put in between the screwdriver and the wire, so I didn't damage the wire, I shoved it in there. You know, I kind of hammered it in. Obviously being careful not to chip your paint or break your windshield, but I got it in there. Finally got it in there. Looks really clean, just like the other side. You know, I ran it in there, and the plug's behind the plug is right behind here. You can't see it, you know. You can't see it from the side, can't see it from the front. You can barely see it from the front, actually. But so that's you know, that's how I got it in there. All right. So comes down here. The wire was not long enough, so I had to cut it and add wire to it in order to make it long enough to reach the battery where it was supposed to go. Okay. So I ran it right here, zip tied it all along the top, just like the other videos on how to install these lights are. You know, they'll zip tie it, go down here. All right, so when I got to this point here, you know, it tees off, right? So you got one that goes up to the driver's side, and one that comes from the passenger side. All right, so it tees here, and it gets together into one wire, right? You know, then you put the three wires that go to the switch through that little firewall right here. It goes right through that firewall. That was a bitch. All right, I'm not gonna tell you that's easy, because that's not. You just got to stick that wire in there. You know, you just got to figure out how to do it, man. You just got to push that wire through. I used the channel that's made for the hood. You know, where you unlock the hood, you can see that little plastic grommet there. and you can see the green and the white wire going in through there, right? I just shoved it down that same channel and pushing and shoving it. Finally I got it through. I went on the other side, I saw a little glimmer of it. I used needle nose pliers, grabbed it, and I pulled it through. And I was after like 30-40 minutes of trying. It sucks. It really does. It really sucks. So that goes to the switch. Over here, obviously, your yellow wire goes to the battery. That's your constant power. And it has an inline fuse, and it's got a relay. All right. And obviously the black goes to the negative. I put the black right here. I didn't put it on the battery post. I put the battery right here on this negative. This ground, it's a body ground, and it fits in there perfect. Just took the screw out, put it in there, screwed it down, and you're done. It comes with a white wire. Now here's the issue with this white wire. The white wire also goes to battery. It says, you know, the 12 DC battery or accessory. You want to put that wire on an accessory that comes on when your ignition is on, okay? Because if you put that wire to the DC battery, all right, what's going to happen is that wire, that switch is going to be always powered, and the light will always be on, and somebody can come by, or a little kid, one of you know, I got 4 little boys, so I know that one of them at some point would jump into my car, jump into the truck, and turn on that light and leave it on, and then I would come out to a dead battery, like a really dead battery. You know what I mean? So if you put it onto an accessory, and I'm going to show you how I did that in a minute. If you put it onto an accessory, it's kind of like a safety. You know, it protects you from your battery draining. Because this light puts out some serious lumens, and I'd imagine that it drains, it consumes some serious amounts of electricity. All right, so I don't think your battery would last too long with this thing left on and the engine not running. So that's it, right? The relay. All right, so what I did was the white wire that's here, it has an inline fuse. It's a 3-amp fuse, you know, it's inline. The part that's in the engine compartment, I just cut it off, okay? The other half of that white wire goes through the firewall into the switch, all right? So there's no connection with that white wire to the relay or to any of the lights, okay? It's simply to power your switch. Without that white wire being powered, your switch won't work and your lights will not go on, whether your car's running or your car's not running. You have to power that white wire, okay? And I would suggest to you to power it through an accessory. And I used the power outlet in the car, which is only on when the ignition is in the accessory mode or the car is running. All right, so it makes it so much easier. All right, so the way I did that was I did it through the fuse box in the car. All right, so this fuse box right under the right above your left foot here has all the accessory fuses. Okay, and this is going to be really difficult because. All right, there we are. Let's see if I can get this camera to focus. All right. So what I did was I used an ADA circuit, okay, which is very safe. It's used. It's a standard, industry standard. It's used, you know, in numerous applications. It's not like something you're not supposed to do. And you're only tapping the accessory fuse, so it's not really it's not a fuse that's going to affect your vehicle or the drivability of your vehicle or the reliability of your vehicle. Okay, so what I did was I used the accessory fuse, the fuse to the accessory power outlet number 1. There's 2 of them. There's number 1 and number 2 power outlets. Okay, so it's basically the cigarette lighters, and it's a 15 amp. Okay, so you pull out the 15 amp fuse and you plug in the ADA circuit. It goes right into that place. So what you do with the 15 amp fuse is you put it in the adder circuit, okay, closest to the fuse box. All right, so there's two slots. There's this top slot that is in line with the wire. That's your accessory outlet, okay, to add whatever accessory you're going to add. And then there's the top slot, okay, which is reserved for the fuse that you removed, okay, to make room for this adder circuit. So you're going to put that fuse there. So this fuse, the 15 amp fuse, still protects the power outlet. Then the second fuse protects the accessory that you're adding, okay. Second fuse for the accessory should always be lower than the fuse you are piggybacking off, okay. So this is a 15 amp fuse that's meant for the power outlet. Then the one for the light switch is 5 amps. It's supposed to be 3 amps, but I couldn't find a 3 amp fuse. It's only 2 amps or 5 amps. I used the 5. I don't think that's going to pose much of a danger. Just 2 extra amps. So it's in here. It's snug in there. The only thing is that you're not going to be able to put the cover back on. So that's not a big deal. So the white wire goes to this right here. This powers that white wire. Okay. All right. So you don't need the white under the hood. It just goes right here. Powers off of this. And the fuse is already there, so that takes care of the inline fuse. And this goes to the wiring in the switch. So now this switch here, there's videos on how to wire it. This switch here goes, comes with 4 wires. Okay, it comes with a black, a green wire, I believe, and 2 red wires with a white stripe on them. So those 2 red wires you're gonna twist together, and you're gonna put them on that white wire. Okay, so those 2 red wires light up the switch and activate the switch. So when you hit it, it turns on the lights. I guess it sends a signal to the relay to activate the lights. And that's it. That's it. So you put the black to the black, the green to the power outlet, the power wire, okay, that comes in through the firewall. I forget what color it is. I don't remember. But it's not the white, it's not the black, obviously. But you put that one to the green on this, and then the 2 red and white wires, you want to splice them together, and then connect it to the white wire that you just added to the adder circuit. Okay, that's coming off the adder circuit. Very easy. And I know it sounds a little confusing, me telling you, but when you're doing it and you got the wires all there, it'll make sense. It'll line up. And that's it. So and then it just comes down to you cleaning it up, obviously making all the wires look good. If you're using splices, or if you're soldering, or whatever you're doing, I always electrical tape over everything to get it nice and hold it nice and snug, extra secure, kind of weatherproofs it a little bit, and helps it to not be pulled apart by accident. And so once you hit so you see here, it doesn't power the light, using the switch, no power. Okay, so once you get the accessory going here, so now it's an ACC power, your switch lights up, which means that the switch is ready to go, and you want to turn it on, and there it is. Those lights are on. Those lights are really bright. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's bright. You can even feel the heat coming off of them. Really strong lights. I'm really happy with them. I use them at night, use them outside, and it's just unbelievable. It lights up the whole street for, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 feet, maybe more. Definitely more. But yeah, so and that's it, man. So you know, after you make all the connections, it's just making it look clean, you know, putting those wires out of the way, zip tying them. Zip ties are my friend. They're your friend. If you're doing this, zip ties are your friend, because that'll make it look really clean, keep them secure and out of the way so you don't kick them, you don't, you know, pull them loose by accident. And that's it. Let's see here. Make sure I went over everything. Rack, the light, the bolts, crossbar, and yeah, that's it. All right, so you know, if you got any questions, or you know, something doesn't make sense, or I didn't cover something, just ask me in the comments, and I'll respond promptly. All right, guys. All right, good luck.